Welcome back to the channel, lads and ladies, and welcome to another pair of replays. First off, a very effective game by Pilot, someone who is no stranger to the channel, and he is just as capable as he demonstrates here on the ground as he is in the air. Starting off in, what is this? I believe this is the Chinese Type 62. I could be mistaken. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. This medium tank with light armor almost feels like a slightly higher tier M18 with Heat FS, and I've got to say, that's a pretty sweet deal. Starting the match with armor-piercing high-explosive rounds loaded, he's hoping, no doubt, to get kills on light targets or side shots on the big boys. First round, nicely taking down a Yagged Panther for his first kill. Now he's dominating the monument, still using APHE apparently, hoping to cripple or destroy enemies before they get a chance to take him down as he pushes up forward here. A little bit of an unexpected move if you're looking to control this power position on the map. Takes a shot there in order to switch to Heat FS. It is about that time. This is when the Tiger 2s will be pushing forward. This being at least a 6-7 match. Not sure what Pilot's doing right here. Maybe listening, maybe text messaging, I don't know. Or it could just be the replay bugging out on me again. Panther 2 pushing up, excuse me. Looked like the lamppost ate that one, but that's just a replay glitch. It went straight into the turret of Panther 2, taking down most of the crew. A second shot, easily finishing off both relief driver and commander for the kill. Next target is going to be a little tougher nut to crack. Even with heat fin stabilized, the Yagged Tiger can prove a sticky foe as per usual. The German tanks pushing up along the seawall as well. Or the fortification wall. Looks like we have a Nashorn and a Tiger. No difficult opponent for in terms of taking them down frontally, but their firepower an easy and able deterrent to Pilot as he takes an aggressive quick peek to try and deal some damage to the enemy. The Nashorn finding his roof-mounted machine gun. Now, one thing you could do if your AA gun is sticking up like that is switch to direct control of the AA gun and try and shoot some holes in the casemate of that Nashorn. Never hurts to try. But Pilot, with 3 enemies looking directly at him, pokes out aggressively, manages to bounce one shot through his highly angled front plate, and gets a hit on the Tiger that ends up being absorbed by the black hole that is the armor around the machine gun port. Unlike in direct opposition to what you find with American tanks, the German tanks tend to have a stronger armor profile around their machine gun port, and that just has to do with, well, first off, how armor is modeled in the game of War Thunder, and secondly, the doctrine of the Germans when it came to building those machine gun ports. Anyway, another shot, 2 shots now, and 2 kills. Picking up both one of the Tigers and the Nashorn as more enemies continue to push forward, not expecting Pilot to play so aggressively here. A quick peek, a quick shot, and then back to safety. The transmission of the Type 62 coming through for him where it is definitely needed. Pulling off a cheeky flank on a Tiger P that decided to smoke up the area. That Tiger 2 gets taken down by a quick and well-placed shot to the ammunition area of the turret. Something that in real life was not a major concern, but in the game of War Thunder, the ammo rack in the turret of the Tiger II being an Achilles heel as soon as you get on its flank. And of course, the Tiger II is a vehicle that really shines in a head-on, long-range engagement, which is in keeping with German heavy tank doctrine. And yet in the game of War Thunder, where it's much more of a simple matter to flank the enemy team, the armor of Tiger II can prove less versatile and adaptable than you would like it to be, getting taken down, as in this case, by the more nimble and aggressive tactical minds on the enemy team. This time paired up with the Americans, we don't have to worry about that super Pershing. And now moving to entirely the other flank of the battlefield, Pilot is hoping to find some fresh spawns caught with their pants down, as he pantses a Panzer right away, showing the power of APHE and why it's a good idea to carry both types of ammunition in the Type 62. The fact that this tank is readily available in the Chinese tree is yet another reason to try out Chinese tanks. Again, it looks like a really interesting tree in the early and mid ranks, because it is such a mix of vehicles that were only available as event vehicles in the past for other nations. Blap, goodbye, Panther 2. You're an event vehicle now too, aren't you? Anyway, Panther 2 no longer available to new players of War Thunder, and also no longer available to that tanker, at least for this match. The Type 62 showing its stripes as, once more, a mobile, aggressive vehicle with light armor and a reliable gun, akin to a higher tier M18, and perfectly in keeping with the meta of War Thunder, especially once you move into the 7.7, 8.7 range, up until you get to the very top tier vehicles where armor starts being a thing once again, even such unreliable armor. The Type 62 is a great trainer vehicle for people looking to get to the higher levels of skill and productivity in War Thunder. How do you do so? Well, just watch Pilot and do what he's doing. It's all about being in the right place at the right time, and having a gun with good post-penetration effect and a fast reload in terms of what it can face definitely helps you to make the most out of good tactical decisions. Now, eventually, Pilot's going to find his way into the wrong neighborhood and get taken down by the wind from a Wurble. But after that, fearing no AA himself, he is now enjoying life in the PE2, seeing if he can pester the enemy. You see what I did there? 4 bombs, 4 drops, and hoping for the best. The PE, what is this PE2, PE3, PE4? I don't know. But his first kill from the air is a beautifully realized bomb drop on a whirlwind. It looked like that landed in the crew compartment. It's always nice to see destruction on such a scale in War Thunder in that damage indicator. Now, pulling a little bit of fancy footwork to avoid at least 2, it looked like maybe 3 or more whirlwinds on the enemy team. Once the Germans start to bleed, out drips the AA. Everyone having a Wurble or an Ostwind or an Ostwind 2 Electric Boogaloo in their lineup. Jagd Panther late in the game. Powerful vehicle when it's not exploded by a 1,000-kilo bomb. The Peshka definitely showing its stripes here as Pilot goes full flaps, going for another pass in a ground vehicle. Looks like a Tiger II-H, and now it looks like a Crater. Definitely showing the power of Soviet CAS here. You can talk about HVARs, you can talk about SNEB rockets, you can talk about Tiny Tims all day long. But when it comes down to it, if you know how to use a 1,000-kilo bomb, you've got 3 or 4 kills in this nimble and effective Soviet medium bomber, with moves like a heavy fighter and less like a bomber, punchy defensive guns, 4 bomb drops or 2 depending upon the model, and even some offensive guns. Yeah, it's a good aircraft. One downside is it has a rather large profile and doesn't have the highest top speed, so you will need to spend a little bit longer going back to base as we skip ahead here on Pilot's rampage. Up to 13 kills and still going on his second spawn, his first aircraft of the game. Again, Chinese military showing us how this tree really does have a mix, a broad range of some of the best meta vehicles in War Thunder, and even in a 6-7 match, you can use these lower rank frontline bombers to cause some serious damage to the enemy at a lower spawn points cost to yourself, and resulting in a lot of fun and activity for your team. Behind on ground control, despite Pilot's 13 kill rampage so far, unable to carry his team at this point, the blue team is bleeding out victory points with the enemy team on the verge of defeat themselves. This is a close match. Pilot is definitely going to have to rely on his ground forces here, his allies, his compatriots to push forward. It looks, I can't quite see the minimap very well, but it looks like he has 3 or 4 allied tanks on the field. We hear, indeed we also see, enemy aircraft in the sky. That's going to pose a problem for Pilot for sure, and his allied forces are being spawn camped by, what is that? Let's hope. Nope, a near miss causes critical damage to much of the Tiger 2P, but doesn't deal the damage needed to take the beast down. Now this is clearly a replay glitch. It looks like he doesn't have any bombs on the racks, but this is not as a bomb tumbles out of the aircraft. It's not a gun run. It is a kill shot with a 1,000-kilo bomb, taking down the spawn camping Tiger and letting the pressure off for his teammates. But is it too late? They're going to need to decap and capture a zone and definitely get some more things done if they're going to make it into a victory on this match. I think the big W is going to avoid our team this time, but with a 15th kill on a Panther 2, dropping the bomb in just the right place, he should have one more here if that was not a double drop. So we'll see if he can make any more of a difference in this match in the final moments, but it looks like the Chinese and American team is not going to get a win this time. A harrowing battle with some extreme heroics on the part of Pilot on behalf of his team, but sometimes you try your best and all you get is the reward for trying your best. Next up, we have FlightSimTest in the Mustang, and this is such a beautiful aircraft, and it's a beautiful day here in the skies of War Thunder that I really felt like leaving this in cinematic mode. So enjoy. FST is at combat altitude, high altitude here in the P-51, and he's going to be engaging in an extended dogfight with multiple planes. So as the P-47 shoots down, what was that, an ME-410? Something along those lines. Enjoy the beauty that this game has to offer with the UI turned off, and relax for a while as we watch what FlightSimTest gets himself involved in here. listening now for enemy aircraft. That is generally the best way for me to know what's going on, especially since I'm used to playing spray and pray at long range. Looks like he got some hits on, what is that, a Focke-Wulf? More shots, even in the replay. It looks like they're well placed. The Focke-Wulf, straight line zooming away. Boom and zoom play style with a climb rate to out-climb even the P-51. And FlightSimTest is maintaining his altitude, but flying more in a straight line to build up some speed so that he has a chance to nose up for some long-range shots, maybe? Question mark. At the Focke-Wulf. Again, this is going to be, let's call this the old meta. This is really the way that the P-51 and the Focke-Wulf were meant to fly. You're looking at an experienced player here. He looks like he's playing very passively, but he's actually dragging FST away from the main American forces here, trying to set up a one-on-one situation where the Focke-Wulf can use its superior defensive flying, its roll rate, its snappy maneuvers to get an advantage over the P-51. This German pilot is no doubt hoping that FST will come close and then stall to try and take down the Focke-Wulf, at which point Focke-Wulf pilot can pop full flaps and pull a reversal and just blast FST out of the sky. We'll have to see how this turns out. Closing now, it looks like, I think that's a Focke-Wulf. Is it a Ta? It should be a Focke-Wulf. Turning, going for the boom and zoom attack. Can't quite make a head-on as the elevator of the Focke-Wulf is so anemic, and yet that also adds to its energy retention, pulling slight maneuvers, much more energy efficient. Trying to get some shots. It looks like FST couldn't quite get a bead on his enemy, but is that nothing but contrail behind the enemy? Yeah, I don't think he's punched any holes in the fuel tank yet. Still at high altitude, both combatants maintaining their energy state fairly well, both playing rather cautiously. The Focke-Wulf hoping to drag FST into an energy trap. FlightSimTest keeping his nose where it belongs, only at a slight elevation at the most. Dipping now to build speed and close on the Focke-Wulf. At this altitude, the Mustang should be able to slowly catch up to the German fighter, and the enemy pilot is well aware of that. Now nosing up to try and build an energy advantage, suspecting that the enemy Focke-Wulf will turn once again. FST going for as much energy as he can get in what is now a defensive and careful but committed dogfight with this German pilot. Let's watch and see what happens next. Oh, my dead legs. Oh, geez. The girls have been rough on me today. I'm just starting a diet because I sit around all day and I've been getting fat. So I'm fatter than I want to be. So I've been changing up how I eat, which definitely needed to be done. It's hard to find time to get proper exercise, but a diet, that's definitely doable. What that means, though, is I'm tired. I'm always tired all the time, but I was especially tired today. And both of my daughters were just really cranky and demanding. It's been a long morning. You may notice that the house is quiet now, though, as FST observes the battlefield now. Perhaps the highest player on the team. I suspect, I'm just picturing in my head, even though I can't see the map, I'm imagining that his entire team is dead by now. That just seems to be the way it is in American aircraft, and yet The Mustang is such a capable high-altitude fighter at its battle rating. It really has a lot of things going for it. It's not the best dogfighter, but at this altitude, you'll be better than a lot of your competition, especially if you can build up some speed in a dive as we see him doing here. The pair of enemies, though, taking turns nicely, showing some experience. A BF-109, could that be a K or a G model? Not quite sure. But it's not having any difficulties drawing lines in the sky at this altitude. It's going to be a real test for FST. It definitely has the energy fighting advantage over our pilot if FST decided to go for a turn against him. Focke-Wulf coming up now for a gun run on FST. He's going to try and get on his tail as well, putting pressure on our man, who needs to conserve every ounce of energy that he has, and that's exactly what he does. Nosing up here to drag out these two enemies onto his tail. If he continues in a straight line now, he should be able to build speed a little bit faster than the BF-109 and much faster than the Focke-Wulf in a straight line. If he continues to try and turn with these two enemies who had nicely set up their attack runs to where they were attacking at opposite times, always keeping FST on the defensive, then he would have fallen into their trap very quickly. Trying to follow the BF-109, impossible in a turn. Trying to deal with the Focke-Wulf's persistent attacks, inadvisable, as it would completely set him up to be taken down by the other German pilot. These two enemies showing great teamwork as they doggedly, dog FlightSimTest in his Mustang, playing the aircraft to its strengths and not encountering any help from Allied pilots. Alone at this altitude, an American Eagle high in the skies fighting for its life against the enemy Warhawks. And, well, what do you mean the Warhawk is an American aircraft? A little bit of a jump in the video there. FST now diving down, chasing a foe through the clouds. You can hear them. I can't see them. Maybe you can. Spot the Dot is always an interesting game to play in War Thunder. And yet, what is all this jumping? This video's messed up. That is just too bad. I was hoping to see more about how this was going to turn out, but now we're at low altitude. The fight has progressed to the point where FST gets a kill. I think that's actually his second kill. The Focke-Wulf coming in for a pass and missing his shots, going into a rolling scissors. He gets some shots at him, but I don't see any sparkles there. Definitely not a critical hit, which is the least that he would need. FST has taken some hits on the way down from high altitude in this fight, and I really wish that my shadow play had properly recorded those last couple of minutes, but that's just a problem with the recording. That's too bad. Now, low on energy, low on altitude, flight surfaces all shot up. You know how this is going to end. A Mustang is not going to outfly a couple of German aircraft at this battle rating. That is a Focke-Wulf 190C, I believe, the event plane, popping flaps and pulling hard. It doesn't look like he has enough lift to maintain air, and indeed he crashes into the ocean after getting a couple of cheeky kills on a very numerous advantage German team. I really liked showing off the energy fight going on there. You can get into the heads of the pilots with FST knowing that the enemy was trying to energy trap him, and then they were trying to set him up as a bait and switch, and he did the wise thing, which was to avoid them. And then eventually, we didn't see a lot of that video because the file got corrupted, which is too bad. That's an issue with my graphics drivers. But he ended up fighting aggressively all the way down to low altitude. I know he picked up 2 kills in that match, so he got one on the way down that we didn't see, and then he picked up another one as well. But there's only so much you can do when the enemy team outnumbers you that much. Great team play from the Germans, and very considerate and tactical gameplay from FlightSimTest in the Mustang. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching these replays, and definitely feel free to join the Toshio Thunder Discord, the Thunder Zone, link in the description below. That's the best place to get in touch with me and to hang out when I have time. I am a busy man these days. And also, send me those replays so you can be featured. Catch you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.